Namaskar and very good evening to each one of you. I hope you can hear me well. Maybe one of you can confirm through a chat message response. I'll wait for a few seconds here. I'm assuming you can hear me loud and clear. Thank you so very much for confirming. Teachers, I'm Baljit Singh. I head the Strategic Alliances and Corporate Social Responsibility Division here at Educart, which is a Agrawal Group of Publications group company. A very warm welcome to all of you one more time for sparing time and making it to this very interactive webinar, which is going to give you very intense insights about the assessment practices. And we are grateful to Ma'am Akanksha Arora for giving us time and blocking good 2 hours in her calendar to come around and spend time with you through a webinar. When we speak about assessments, I think the bell rings in our head at what it entails around assessment. I think this is a very, very interesting segment because through which the knowledge imparted by faculties or teachers, understanding or assimilation of that knowledge amongst the learner group gets tested. I think we need to be very, very clear and we need to be very, very futuristic in terms of understanding those practices. And we will build around this once ma'am will take over in next couple of minutes. Next chart, please. Before we crack on, I think there are a few ground rules I would urge you to bear in mind. We want to keep this session quite interactive, so it cannot be just ma'am coming and speaking to you. We'll do various quizzes, various polls in order to gauge your understanding, in order to gauge your perspective. And to do that, we'll be using Mentimeter. I'll urge each one of you to please register yourself in the browser on Mentimeter app and keep that ready. During the run of the session, certain questions, quizzes will be asked, and we expect you to go on that Mentimeter and share your views through the various options given for a particular quiz question. Another important aspect, I know it is a Saturday, many of you must be thinking, let's call it a day and wind up. But we expect you to stick around for the full run of this session until the end because there are going to be a few questions asked and we expect you to attempt all those questions in order to make yourself eligible for the e-certificate which will be populated at the end of this program. I hope we are not very strict, but I think this is a mechanism to keep you, involved in this discussion because it's going to be more productive with your feedback, with your inputs being shared on real-time basis. But the last, which is a most important ground rule is we keep doing these sessions, right? And we keep inviting a lot of feedback from each one of you. But the idea here is we want to understand from you that how we can further make them better, more engaging, and more comprehensive. So please attempt the feedback segment at the end of this particular session in order to make it more make it a ground for us to further work on. Next chart, please. All right, before we actually get into the core training, I'll quickly speak about Educart. Educart is the K-12 publishing division of Agrawal Group of Publications. Talking about Agrawal Group of Publications, the legacy takes us back in time to good 80 years behind. The group was formed in 1945. In terms of our outreach, we offer solutions for the K-12 segment for various government examination degree programs. We work with boards like CBSE, ICSE, and a couple of state boards also. And the buck doesn't stop there. We are in the test prep space as well, wherein we are constantly supporting learners by providing solutions to enable them, prepare them well for competitive assessment exams like NEET and CUET and few others, right? So a lot of learners every year are signing up for these competitive examinations are getting benefited through a very structured approach being provided through our learning tools. Next chart, please. All right, about Educart, since I've already started to speak about Educart, so Educart provides a very well structured training solutions for learners and in some cases for teachers also. And it primarily caters to K-12 division of Agrawal Group of Publications. Our solutions are very strong and effective when it comes to our 9 to 12 reference book because millions of learners are signing up for those books and they're subscribing to those books and getting benefited from it. The beauty here is these all claims are derived from various recommendations being secured by top educators of the country. They have constantly given us feedback in terms of how we can better things, how comprehensively we are covering the entire syllabus, and how learners are constantly getting benefit of it. I'll leave the last pointer, which I'll try and cover on the next chart. Go slow, please. And how we are kind of supporting these learners, because we have very holistic lesson plans, we have unit papers, we have stepwise marking breakdowns, which are enabling students to prepare well for each segment of the assessment. Most of us, we forget to focus on the time management aspect. I think that is also well covered, wherein these question papers and the assessments are further broken down into time segment, by means of which learner gets to practice well on the real time illustration basis. Next chart, please. All right, these are interesting data points we must look at when we speak about Educart. We are a leading K-12 solution provider when it comes to the peripheral books. In terms of outreach, each year close to about 2.5 million learners are using our resources. The buck doesn't stop there. More than 1 lakh plus teachers are using and recommending our resources to a pool of learners. In terms of making the solutions available for learners and teachers in the retail market, we have a very strong network of 2,000 plus retailers supplying these courses to the end users. Talking about the coverage, so this is a very interesting aspect. So close to about 50% of the questions which comes in the board examinations are well covered through our solutions, which a learner each year gets benefited out of. And if you look at the bottom of this chart, you'll find our topper of 10th class. He's used Educart solutions, and he's with great pride has endorsed this on a national daily newspaper that Educart has helped that learner secure 100% marks in a particular subject in the 10th board examination. I think this calls for a round of applause, but I think we can't do it real time. Next chart, please. All right, why and how do we compete against the competition? We are very fresh in terms of our approach, in terms of how we try and keep ourselves abreast all these coming changes which are brought about through National Education Policy of 2020. We have a very agile approach when it comes to customizing and updating our solutions in line with the modern day practices and launch them in the market. When I say launch them, which means we make them readily available for our learners and users, and in some cases teachers also. We are quite innovative, so we always think beyond normal, and we have further split the marks breakdown in order to give learners a real-time understanding around how they should plan, which segment they should plan more on, how much time they should devote on a particular segment of examination, and other practices, which includes various industry-based solutions, which explains the stepwise explanation and even the multiple choice question attempts as well. Next chart, please. All right, so how do we engage with a lot of teachers across the country? While we are doing this in the format of webinar, we have done multiple face-to-face events also with various pool of, in a cluster manner with a pool of teachers from CBSE, ICSE schools. As you can see in the pictorial, some of these snippets are talking about our ongoing session with various teachers, a pool of teachers, those who have participated in the recently concluded workshops and webinars. Next chart, please. That's another example of similar webinars going on. We do it in multiple countries. The recent one was done in Indore. Next one, please. Not just teachers, we engage with learners also, and we support them with a free booklet which help them check back on their readiness for the assessment. So this is more like a test paper, a concise test paper, which will help them quickly assess how ready, how prepared they are to undertake or to maybe attempt the upcoming assessment. So I'll stop here. I think we have a big agenda today. I'll stop here and pass on the floor to my colleague, Nishant, who heads the academic division of Educart. He will take you through the next slides and the next segments of today's webinar. Thank you very much. Please stay invested. Talking about the ground rule one more time, we'll urge you to stay back till the end of this webinar, because we expect you to attempt all those quizzes and questions in order to make yourself eligible for the e-certificate. I'll take your leave. I'll invite my colleague Nishant to take over from here on. Thank you very much.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you have understood about Educart, a small introduction of the company because we are bringing something really new for you. Can we switch into the next slide? So, this is something that we all were waiting for, maybe introducing our speaker as well as what we are studying today. So, we'll be learning about assessments. What is assessments? Basically, a structure of assessment. Then, what are internal assessments, multiple assessments, portfolio of students, how they can build that. Then, we'll also talk about summative assessment, multidisciplinary assessment, and lastly we'll try to understand a few challenges that you teachers face while making these assessments. So thank you so much for joining. Now introducing our speaker. So our speaker for today, Miss Akanksha Arora. I think naam to suna hi hoga, right? So she is a master trainer for us, ISTM certified. She excels in improving plan for the schools and also a very huge number. She has trained more than 35,000 teachers and more than 500 school leaders for them. So over to you, Akanksha ma'am. I would request your presence here. So over to you, Akanksha ma'am. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll leave the stage for you.
Thank you
so
Nishant.
much.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session on fostering effective assessment practices. As they say, assessment is a journey, it's not an end. So I thank you all for joining us on this journey, and I thank Educart for organizing this event for us. So as you all know that my energy comes from interacting with my participants. So I will request you all to actively engage yourself in this session by sending comments in the chat so that I get to know what you are thinking, whether this makes sense to you. And I would also urge you all to share your good practices and what you have been doing in your schools. You are masters of your subjects. You also come with a fair understanding of assessments. We all have a good understanding of that. So I really want to tell you that in this session, what we are going to do is to look at assessment in a different perspective so that we can make it more effective for our students and we can change our relationship, our parents' relationship and our students' relationship with assessment. So everybody has been talking about making it non-threatening, children should not have the fear of assessment. So how do we do all of that? It starts from there. And another thing that I feel immensely responsible about as a trainer is to walk the talk. Okay, I feel my duty is not to preach or recommend things to you, but I should put into practice what I tell you. So today I'm trying to include some innovative ideas in this presentation. As you would see when you look at these slides, that they are pretty different from the regular PowerPoints that we have in a training session. I have tried to introduce a lot of different ideas here and break some stereotypes as well. So let me know in comments what you think about it at the end of the session. And I think we can begin. So we'll begin with a question and on Mentimeter. The previous question, please. Yes. So what do you feel when you hear the word assessment? I'm asking you about the feeling that you have. What is it that you feel when you hear the word assessment. There is a link pinned in the chat. Please go to that link and share your response. Good evening, everyone. I can see a lot of comments in the chat. So good evening for all who are joining now. We have just started with the session, and I request you all to click on the link that is available in the chat to participate. All right, I can see around 900 responses there. So when you look at assessment, you think about judgment, you think about test, marks, anxiety, oh yes, and progress, that's great. You think of measurement. I see a lot of anxiety there, analysis, checking, questions, appraisal, of course, evaluation, assessment, great, performance, feedback, tension, oh yes. So we have lot of answers coming in, and the word cloud is getting, smaller and smaller. The fonts are getting, I'm having a little bit of trouble reading that. Never mind, most of it is about nervousness, okay, tension, checking, pressure, practice, summarize, measurement, great. Fear, anxiety, yes, judgment. So these words, when I see fear, judgment, anxiety, and pressure and tension, all these words come with a negative connotation. And why is it so? Appraisal, a lot of you are saying appraisal. Yes, I know. When I go to schools, I hear the managements and principal talking about it. If the teachers' children are performing well, doing well in their exams, then the teacher gets a good appraisal. Otherwise, your appraisal is at stake. So, yeah. I want to move forward and talk about previous slide. Yes. So we'll start with why. Okay, why are we talking about assessment, and why does it give us anxiety, fear? What happens? Okay. So when I think about assessment, I just have this in mind that I'm going to be evaluated. Somebody is going to judge me and give me a rank. They are going to tell me this is a A-level student or a B-level student or a C-level student. Similarly, if I'm a teacher, depending on my student scores, I'll be judged. Okay, either they'll say this teacher is an excellent teacher, her children perform very well, okay, or oh, this teacher, I'm not sure, children don't know, and parents are always there on our head, because children don't understand the concept. So what happens then? I want to begin this with a story, okay? So we are just exploring this question today, and let's begin with a story. I want you to imagine a classroom, say 10 years back or 20 years back. What comes to your mind? Think of a classroom 10, 15, 20 years back. What comes to your mind? I have an image on the screen for you. So when I think of that classroom, I see a teacher who is meticulously teaching in the classroom, students who are diligently taking notes, and on every table I see the textbook or notebook. So it's a textbook dominated classroom, and it has a feeling of routine, repetition, and adherence to syllabus. So this is what has been happening over the decades. Now all our children were doing well. We were producing intelligent children in our classrooms. They were brilliant in what they were doing, and then came up an international exam. So we were pretty excited to participate there, and all our bright-eyed students wanted to go in for this international exam. India was very excited to participate, and we were very hopeful. Okay. This exam is called Program for International Student Assessment, and this is conducted every 3 years to evaluate children on 3 subject areas: on their reading skills, math, and science. The survey is based on 2-hour assessment, and India participated in 2009. All right, so 73 countries participated in all. And I want you to answer this question again on Mentimeter. So please go to Menti. The link is in chat. The link is already pinned in chat. We have the second question flashing on the screen. What, according to you, was India's rank in PISA? in this international assessment? Was it in the top 3? Was it between 4 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, or the last ones? Okay, last 3. Okay, so we have all those guesses coming in. So 40 to 60, we have 11 people saying that. And then 4 to 20 is growing. All right. So there's a tie, almost a tie. A lot of people feel we could be in any of these brackets. 54 people feel we could be last 3. Okay. So we have around 500 people who have already responded. We'll wait for a few more seconds. And I can see a lot of answers in the chats and comments as well. 40 to 60, 40 to 60. So most of the guesses are 40 to 60. And on the screen also, I see 125. All right. Next week. So when the results came out, the harsh reality was in our face. So what happened? Our brilliant students who were performing very well when it came to exams based on questions from the book could not perform very well in these exams. The problem was these children were very good at remembering, but they could not show what they had learned. They were not good at doing. So they could not apply their knowledge to solve questions which were a part of the PISA assessment. India was at 72nd position out of 73, which means we were at the second last position amongst all countries that participated. India's class 8 student was at a reading level of second grader from Shanghai, that's China, and a class 3 student of South Korea. Okay, so if you look at the slide here, it's very clearly showing that we did really badly in this assessment. And after that, in 2018, we were supposed to we decided that we will participate in PISA in 2021, but 2021 it didn't happen because of COVID. It got postponed to 2022, and 81 countries had participated, but India withdrew at the last moment. Okay, we didn't feel confident enough that our children would be able to perform better than the last time. So it was a real wake-up call for us. Our children, who we considered very intelligent and who were prepared for the bookish assessments, were not at all ready with the 21st century skills that were required to lead the life that was ahead of them. So if you look at this picture, it very clearly, metaphorically, demonstrates what was missing. Our children were very good at rote memorization. If you ask them to read a car manual, they would learn it all, and they would tell you all about the different parts, what they would do. But when it came to driving a car, they had absolutely no mastery over that skill. So they didn't have the muscle to put things into action. Again, in 2022, when PISA, like these countries participated and we withdrew from that, but I'm just sharing on screen the top 10 countries for you to have a look. And let's look at the top 5 in all the 3 sections, math, reading and science. So Singapore tops all of these, and then we have China and Japan and Korea mostly in the top 4 positions. So Singapore, China, Japan and Korea. Now, if you look at the world today, I think you can very well relate. Okay, in the world, who's leading electric car manufacturing in the world? I think China produces more than 50% of electric cars used in the world today. So that is they not only are masters in mechanics, but also in computers, in chemicals, and most of these industries, they are leading. So these scores very well show us that if you look at the past scores also, you will see that these countries have been on the top. And no wonder that 15 years later, they are ruling the world. So they are amongst the trailblazers, setting the tone for all kinds of AI and all the stuff. So now this was a great realization. And who is with these children? Who's responsible for these children? We, the educators. Okay, you and I, both are responsible. So as educators, what do you think should be done about it? Okay, if our children are doing so badly, what is the responsibility? Like, okay, whether to participate in PISA or not was a decision taken by the ministry. But irrespective of that, how are we responsible and what should we do? So that is the question. I see answers in the chat. Class with blackboard only, and then we write all the answers. Students were attentive, okay. Rote learning and no experiential learning. Yes, absolutely. So these were the reasons that you are sharing in the chat, and there is a need for change. Okay, we all have realized that our children will not be able to perform if our classrooms do not change. And what should change in our classrooms? We need to change the objectives we want to achieve there. We want to change the way we teach in our classrooms, and this will lead to a change in the way we assess our children. Okay, so we always feel that there are so many policies coming from CBSE, and again and again they are making changes. What is happening? It's actually a pain sometimes that so many changes every year, and as teachers we get used to one system and again a new one is introduced. So this actually explains why all these changes are there. I have told you about the past, how we fared in PISA. You've seen we are moving into the AI age. Now, when we are moving in the artificial intelligence era, do you see what kind of jobs will be available 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line? We don't know what teaching will be like then. Okay, we all have these questions. So, what are we going to do? What are we preparing our children for? We can only prepare our children for facing the future with the skills that they will build over these years. We cannot prepare them for a fixed job because we do not know what will exist. According to World Economic Forum, by the end of 2025, around 25 million jobs will be replaced by AI. Okay, so looking at all of this, there are changes required, and in all this darkness, when we were not able to find our way, what to do with our children, at that time came the ray of light through NEP, the new education policy, and which was introduced in 2020. So NEP 2020 told us how we could prepare our children to face the challenges of the future and make them ready for the life ahead, not just to survive but thrive in the world that they are going to step into. So if you see, the first thing that is required is skill development. Till now, the focus has always been on teaching concepts to our children. Okay, we always say that I'm going to teach this concept, and once it's done, my job is over, my syllabus is completed. Now, NEP asks us to shift the focus from concepts to skill development. What is skill development? So, if you look at the two pictures on the screen, earlier we were asking them, tell us how to make a cake, what are the things required to make a cake, and now that's not enough. Okay, we want them to actually bake a cake and show us. So the assessment earlier was based on rote learning, what are the things required, and now we are asking them to bake a cake. So just telling the recipe will not help. What is required now? The children have to actually bake a cake. They have which I can see, which I can taste, and which I can smell. And based on that, I'm going to decide if my student actually has baking skills, not just by the recipe they write in their answer sheet. So this is the difference we want to bring about in our classrooms. To bring about this difference, our classrooms have to be skill-centric. Remember the picture I showed you in the beginning where it was a notebook-dominated classroom? Here, we are talking of skills. Here we are, and how do you develop skills? Skill is developed when you actually do something. I go to the gym, I pick up weights, and my muscle gets developed. Similarly, if I am in the classroom, I solve questions, my mathematical skills get developed. I speak, my speaking skills get developed. So anybody who does the action will only develop skills. Okay, the teacher talking and students listening will not help them develop their skills. So this skill-centric classroom, children have to be actively involved. Like you can see in this picture, children are actually exploring on their own, preparing their own observation report and trying to analyze it. Now, once our classrooms are skill centric and our outcomes we have defined, we move to assessment. तो अब हमारी क्लास में हमने क्या क्या किया, शिफ्ट किया फोकस स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे, और उसके बाद हमने स्किल डेवलपमेंट के साथ साथ बच्चों को क्लासेस में ग्रुप्स में काम कराया. बिकॉज व्हाट आर द स्किल्स वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ? वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, ठीक है, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग, कोलैबोरेशन, कम्युनिकेशन. ये सारी स्किल्स कैसे आएंगी? जब बच्चे उनको एक्चुअली क्लास में यूज करेंगे. और जब बच्चों ने क्लास में यूज कर लिया तो हम असेसमेंट भी उन्हीं का करेंगे. ठीक है, सो असेसमेंट हमारे को चेंज करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अभी तक तो हम आंसर शीट में लिखवा के बस चेक कर लेते थे वॉट एवर दे वर लर्निंग. बट नाउ अब हम जब बात कर रहे हैं कि सिर्फ केक की रेसिपी नहीं चाहिए, पूरा केक चाहिए. ओके, सो वी विल हैव टू चेंज द form of assessments. And like I showed you that slide where we said start with why. हम क्यों ये changes कर रहे हैं? That's a concept given by Simon Sinek. And अगर हम why की बात करें तो I think now it is clear to you कि हमें ये assessment में changes क्यों करने हैं. ठीक है, सो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि ये हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है इन बच्चों को फ्यूचर के लिए प्रिपेयर करना, और इसलिए ये चेंजेस करने हैं. हमें ये चेंजेस इसलिए नहीं करने क्योंकि हमें बोर्ड बोल रहा है या राइट CBSE बोल रहा है. सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि नीड क्या है. और हमारे बच्चे, जैसे आपको यहाँ पे स्माइलिंग फेसेस दिख रहे हैं ऑन द स्क्रीन, ऑन द स्लाइड, सो हमें बच्चों को इतना एम्पावर करना है कि वो फिर डरेंगे नहीं. सी आपने देखा है बच्चे डरते नहीं हैं, दोज हु आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन स्पोर्ट्स. वाई? बिकॉज दे नो दे हैव द स्किल टू डू इट. वहीं पे प्रॉब्लम आती है जहाँ पे हम रोट लर्निंग करते थे, वहाँ डर लगता था अगर कोई और क्वेश्चन आ गया तो हम क्या करेंगे, राइट. बट अगर हमने अपने बच्चों की ये सारी स्किल्स डेवलप कर दी, देन देयर विल बी नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल, राइट. सो अब हम जब असेसमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं तो पहले असेसमेंट्स सिर्फ एक तरह की होती थी कि टेस्ट ही होगा, चाहे वो फाइनल एग्जाम हो, चाहे वो क्लास टेस्ट हो, उसका एक टेस्ट वाला फॉर्मेट होता था. बट नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ 3 एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ असेसमेंट: असेसमेंट ऑफ लर्निंग, असेसमेंट फॉर लर्निंग एंड असेसमेंट एज लर्निंग. ओके, या सो असेसमेंट ऑफ लर्निंग होती है जो सम्मेटिव असेसमेंट होती है, राइट. सो सम्मेटिव असेसमेंट इज कंडक्टेड एट द एंड ऑफ द टर्म, एंड इट यूज टू बी लाइक वी वर एंटरिंग अ टनल, और उस टनल से हम जा रहे हैं एंड लास्ट में हम कहीं पहुंच गए, वो बस दैट यूज टू बी द सम्मेटिव असेसमेंट. नाउ बोर्ड हैज चेंज्ड it completely. Now the board is saying it is not the end of the tunnel, but it's like stepping in a open field. तो अगर वो भी assessment आप कर रहे हो, उस assessment में भी हम बहुत variety ला सकते हैं और बहुत तरह के questions include कर सकते हैं, जो अभी हम आगे during the course of this session देखेंगे. Then second is assessment for learning. Now suppose you are baking your cake. This is like regular checks. कि जब आपका केक बेक हो रहा है, बार बार चेक करते हो सब ठीक है, खुशबू ठीक आ रही है, राइट, इट्स राइजिंग, आई कैन सी इट इन द वन राइजिंग फाइन. सो दिस इज लाइक अ कंपास विच शोज यू द वे ऑन योर जर्नी. सो यू आर वॉकिंग, यू आर गोइंग ऑन अ ट्रैक, एंड फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम यू जस्ट चेक विद योर कंपास, इज माई डायरेक्शन ओके, क्या मैं सही डायरेक्शन में जा रही हूँ या कहीं गड़बड़ हो गई है, राइट. सो इट्स लाइक checking that. So these assessments are continuous and holistic to check and correct our learning. So जहाँ भी learning gaps हैं वो वहीं के वहीं fix हो जाएं, मुझे लास्ट में जाके नहीं पता चले कि हमारे अंदर ये कमी रह गई मेरी learning में या मेरी teaching में. So this helps both the teacher and the students. And the final one, a new aspect, which is assessment as learning. Okay, so it's like reading my own map and becoming my own guide. तो यहाँ पे बच्चा क्या कर रहा है, खुद की learning को खुद समझ रहा है. आज तक क्या होता है, when we do exams, when we conduct exams, children feel I have to study because mom is telling me to, because the teacher will be after my life that you need to score well, my parents need a good score, or that's why I'm studying. So it's like I am doing my parents and my teacher's job as a child by studying for the exams. We need to change that. The child must take ownership of his or her learning, right? And when will that happen? When we develop reflective practices in our students. Yeah. So, no, we'll stick to that slide for a time being. So, abhi isme kya hota hai? We have introduced in some schools which I work with. So, what do we do in assessment as learning? We show the report card to our students, and they observe the report card and they reflect on it. How have I performed in different subjects? Okay, and based on that, they prepare a plan what I'm going to do so that I get better grades in the next term. Okay. So, for example, a child has scored, so a child is looking at the English scores. So, English listening, speaking, reading, writing, all the 4 skills the child is looking at, and this girl feels that I have done well in listening, speaking and writing, but my reading is weak, right? I have not scored a good grade in reading. So, let me prepare a plan for myself. Okay. So, like I said, becoming your own guide. So, I'll prepare a plan for myself so that my reading skills improve. So, what target should I take? Okay, I'll read one class library book every week. Now, there's another child who may feel I can read the newspaper, I can read 2 news from the newspaper every day. Another child feels that I would like to read an article on the web. Okay, so everybody is planning their own, they have their own plan for achieving the target that they are setting for themselves, and it suits them. So, as per their interests, they are doing it, and now they will take ownership because no external factor is pushing them. You know, when externals are pushing you, it is their work. It's not my work. My work, it is when I feel the need to do it, you know, when I have the motivation to do it. Right. So, we can move to the next slide. So, now if we look at this cake, it's pretty fancy now. Yeah. Right. So, if you look at the top, that's the term and exam, right? The top is like the, showcase, and the term and exam where you are going to tell everyone what you have achieved at the end of the session. But the sturdy base is coming from the internal assessments which you have conducted throughout the year, because they have strengthened the learning in the classroom. Okay. So, this is what is important. Okay, that little piece at the end of the session, it adds a lot of value to what I have done throughout the year, but the entire strength comes from internal assessment, which is continuous and holistic. Yeah. Okay, so recently in the news, we heard that there's proposal to have 2 board exams in a year. I want to know what you feel about it. So, the link is pinned in the chat. Please go to the link and tell us, do you support board exams being conducted twice a year? So, as teachers, sometimes we just accept what the board is giving us. I think when we are talking of developing these skills in our children, it is our responsibility to actually, think about whether these policies are going to help us, what changes do we need if such things are happening. As a teacher, what is my responsibility? So, yeah, I can see a lot of no's in the chat. It's dominated by no, no, no. So, we have almost 50-50, 52% and 48%. That's very close. So, a lot of us are supporting it, and almost an equal number are not in favor of it. We support wholeheartedly. All right. No, ma'am. No, no, no. All right. Okay. You may want to write why you support it or why you don't support it in the chat. That will be interesting to read. Actually, teacher wants to do, but another problem. Okay. Fine. We've received a lot of responses. How many people have participated? So, fine. Let's move forward. Okay. So, now, since we are talking of these exams, an important part of these exams is developing the question paper. And when we talk of the question paper, the only thing that comes to our mind is Bloom's taxonomy. So I'm sure you all have heard about it, and a lot of you must be using it very effectively in your classrooms. So I want to know, how is your understanding of Bloom's taxonomy? Again, the link is pinned in the chat. Please tell us. Not this one. Pehle wala. Yeah. No. Yeah, this one. Okay, approaching proficiency, developing, advanced. We have people from all groups. Okay, beginners and developing and approaching proficiency. We have more than 60% of the people there. Okay, so you know knowledge and application. I can see a lot of remarks there. Cool. It reduces the seriousness, pressure on the student. All right. So thank you for participating on this question. Let's move forward. Yeah. So when we're talking of Bloom's taxonomy, we have these 6 levels that you can see on the slide. So Bloom's taxonomy is the hierarchy of thinking skills. Okay, basically we are developing the cognitive skills in our children, which are the thinking skills. So there are 3 domains: cognitive, affective and psychomotor. I'll leave affective and psychomotor for the time being and focus mainly on cognitive skills. So when we talk of thinking skills, there's a certain hierarchy. What kind of thinking you are engaging your children in, and these thinking skills have been divided into 6 levels by Bloom's. Okay, so there's a hierarchy which begins from remembering, which is the baseline. The first thing that children can do when you are teaching them something is remember some information. Okay, so remembering is the first level. Then we move on to understanding. Next is applying. Then we move on to analyzing, evaluating and creating. ये 6 levels हैं. और अभी so if you see Bloom's taxonomy का एक बहुत ही geometrical सा image होता है usually. So I have tried to break that stereotype and made it a little flowery and nice, because it gives a very threatening look when we are looking at that image sometimes, so you can always change the way you look at things by just changing an image. Yeah, so if we I'll take examples of all 6 levels so that you understand कि अगर हमें क्लास में ये 6 levels build करने हैं तो कैसे हमें questions का progression change करना पड़ेगा क्लासरूम्स में. यूजुअली क्या होता है, अगर आप अपने क्वेश्चन पेपर्स देखेंगे तो आपको दिखेगा कि आपके सारे क्वेश्चंस नीचे के 2 levels पे होते हैं. यूजुअली रिमेंबरिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लेवल पे ही आपके सारे क्वेश्चंस यूजुअली होंगे इफ यू लुक एट योर lesson plans. Now our focus has to be on developing the higher order thinking skills. So जो ऊपर वाली 3 skills आपको दिख रही हैं, these are called HOTS, higher order thinking skills. I am sure you've seen a lot of books on cover page they say including HOTS questions. That is what HOTS means, that it covers the 3 top levels of thinking skills, which are the higher order thinking skills. So अभी इसका example लेते हैं to understand these 6 levels better. Next week we are going to celebrate Earth Day. I hope all of you know about it. So let's look at Earth Day and create some questions. I have taken such a common topic so that everybody will understand. Yeah, so again we'll start from the base. So remembering question, when is Earth Day celebrated? Simple fact. Okay, you have to tell a date. So when is Earth Day celebrated? Next is understanding. So we are going to explain what is the significance of Earth Day. So then, right, so if you understand why it is celebrated, what is its significance, you have understood the concept. Now third is applying. So I am saying you have to create a guide for your households to reduce your carbon footprint using renewable energy. So suppose I have taught about renewable energy sources to my students. Now I am asking them to create a guide for their house, how they are going to reduce the carbon footprint. Now this will help them apply their understanding of what's wrong with the earth, okay, how, what kind of carbon footprint we are leaving, what are the things creating global warming. So if the child understands all of this, if the child has a good understanding of all these concepts, then the child will be able to apply to make a guide which will help them reduce their carbon footprint in the house. And do you see how learning has become meaningful for them? You know, rather than just saying save electricity, and suddenly we are giving a newer perspective by applying it in real life, that we can actually reduce our carbon footprint, which means we will be able to survive on earth a little longer, you know, by making it a better place. So this is using my information in real life, whatever I have learnt about Earth Day. Next level is analyzing. What is analyzing? So analyzing is when we look at a problem by breaking it up into its components. Okay, so one analogy that I build here is with your blood report. Whenever you have a blood test, it says blood analysis, and in that blood analysis, it doesn't say your blood is good or bad. It breaks down your blood into different components like red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, platelets, and then it tells you in detail about these different components. So when you are analyzing, you will look at all the aspects of something. So here the analyzing question is, analyze the effectiveness of waste management in environmental protection. So we have our waste management practices. You have to analyze whether the way you have been managing waste in your communities is actually leading to environmental protection or not. Okay, so now again, children will look at all the kind of waste they are generating in the house. So many things just being thrown away, lot of e-waste being generated, no plan with anybody how to, discard that e-waste. Nobody knows how to discard medical waste. There's a lot of medical waste generated at homes also, sanitary waste, a lot of stuff. So we actually don't know what to do with that. Now children start thinking about real world problems, and these are the higher order thinking skills. Let's move on to the next level, which is evaluating. Critically evaluate Earth Day initiatives of last 5 years. So here the child will actually try to find out what were the initiatives taken in the last 5 years, and then evaluate for each year how effective or ineffective they have been. So this is evaluation. When you are looking at something and comparing it to standards and comparing them to each other, you are basically evaluating it. And here, right. So we are critically evaluating Earth Day. So we have reached the 5th level of Bloom's, and the final level is creating. So there is nothing greater than creating. If you have understood a concept in its totality, you reach the higher stage, and then you are ready to create something new out of it. Okay. So for example, here we are saying design an Earth Day campaign. So if you understand how Earth Day, what all are the important aspects of Earth Day, what all can we do to, impact our families, our societies about Earth Day and reduce the carbon footprint, and that leads to environmental protection, I think we should be able to design an exclusive campaign for Earth Day. So you've seen how from remembering a simple question, when is it celebrated, we have evolved to creating our own campaign, right? So that is the power of Bloom's taxonomy. And when we teach in our classrooms, when we decide the learning outcomes or learning objectives, make sure that you do not just remain at the first 2 levels of Bloom's, but you go right up to creation. And when you create question papers, you will be able to include all these kind of questions when you have taught in the classroom. Now this will be complete injustice to children if you include analyzing and evaluating questions in the question paper without introducing in the classroom. So it's our responsibility that our lessons are planned so that our children are equipped कि हाँ they know all 6 levels. Yes, please, we can move to the next one. So we have understood how this whole question papers will be made and how these assessments will be planned. So we have talked in detail about thinking skills. Now let's talk about internal assessment. ठीक है, so internal assessment 20 marks की है, उसके 4 components हैं. So the components of internal assessment are periodic test, subject enrichment activities, multiple assessment and portfolio. Right. So अब ये जो चारों parts हैं internal assessment के, they carry a weightage of 5 marks each. So your internal assessment is of 20 marks. So board exam 80 marks and then 20 marks of internal assessment with 5 marks allotted to each component. So let's look at individual components now. Periodic tests, they carry a weightage of 5 marks in the internal assessment. They are our regular temperature checks. Okay, so continuously we are our cake is being baked, remember? So we are checking the temperature continuously, that it should not get burnt, it should not remain uncooked. So these help us to track how well we are progressing. How many periodic tests we conduct in a year? We conduct 3. And how many are we considering for including in the assessment? So we take the scores of the best 2 and take their average to be included out of 5 marks. Then we come to student enrichment activities. Now look at these. So basically these are adventures, not just tasks. Why I am calling them adventures? Because they provide a lot of, they're like a playground for children to do an experiment and do more. So if you see, both the children have baked their cake and now we are asking them to make it more decorative and add sprinkles and everything, so to enhance the beauty of their cake. Okay, so here both the children have added, so they had different ingredients. The first one has added strawberries and blueberries and sprinkles, and the other one has added cherries and cream. So it's totally up to the child how the child is preparing what you've asked the child to do it. So if you've given a project, complete creativity lies with the child how to present the final product. And that's why I'm saying it's an adventure for the child, because you're not tying or restricting the child with that you have to use this material and you can only do this. Here the children get a free hand and they become interested. So what all can be included in subject enrichment activities? So if we talk of social science, you can have heritage quiz. You can see there's a monument behind these children in the picture. So we can have field visits. Right? We can have EBSB. I'm sure everybody has heard about Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat. So that's another project that can be included as a part of your social science activities. Now one point I want to make here is about field visits. When we want to take children, say, to Qutub Minar in Delhi, that's very popular. So we are taking them to Qutub Minar. अब Qutub Minar जाके करना क्या है? पिकनिक मनानी है, ठीक है. सो कुतुब मीनार गए और पिकनिक मना के आ गए, एंड देन वी पोस्ट ऑन फेसबुक एंड इंस्टाग्राम आवर पिक्चर्स, एंड दैट इज ऑल. सो एज टीचर्स वी नीड टू ensure that we are using it as an enrichment activity. So ये सिर्फ पिकनिक नहीं है. We need to pre-plan कि जाने से पहले we can have a pre-discussion, we can have a worksheet for them to pre-fill. So they have to probably do some research and fill that sheet, or they can you can guide them what all they have to observe when they go there. ठीक है. सो वहाँ जाके क्या करना है, पहले आप उनको ब्रीफिंग दोगे थोड़ी कि क्या क्या ऑब्जर्व करो, वहाँ से क्या क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करके लानी है और उसको आने के बाद किस फॉर्म में प्रेजेंट करना होगा. सो वंस यू हैव गिवन देम दिस डिटेल, it completely transforms the way children go for this visit. फिर वो पिकनिक नहीं है. They will actually involve themselves in finding out more. उनकी curiosity आपने already incite कर दी. So now they are going there. उनको बहुत सारे questions आ रहे हैं, वो देख रहे हैं, वो सारे information boards जो लगे हैं उनको पढ़ रहे हैं, वो stones को observe कर रहे हैं. They are taking a note of everything, and when they come back, they are going to present a report about it. And isn't this what we wanted? जो हमने कहा था हमारे बच्चों को नहीं आता कि अपनी knowledge को use कैसे करना है. So it's not just about making a reel and posting on this. You can make a reel. A reel is a brilliant idea these days. But what information is going into it? Are we just posing with our Pepsis, or are we actually creating something meaningful in them? That makes all the difference. So let's look at another subject, for example, science. Yeah, so science, you can have lab work, we all know that. We do a lot of practicals. We also have something called science challenge. I'll show you in a little while what all can be done in the science challenge. You can have exhibitions, okay, you can organize science fairs, you can have a model making activity. So a lot of different ideas can be explored. Don't stick to just lab work, okay. Just play with all your ideas, like I have played here with all these slides, you know, not restricting them to a definite format with bullets and everything. I've just left it open. So I've tried to experiment that, and I think there's nothing bad about experimenting. Okay. Now you see here children are doing the map work. So again, social science, we encourage a lot of map work, okay, for them to understand and relate with it. We also do a lot of eco club activities. In your club periods, a lot of schools have environmental clubs, eco clubs that you call them. There is this concept of green school, which is you know, gaining popularity among schools. Everybody wants to work on that project. So have those kind of activities. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे सेलिब्रेट करिए. इको क्लब की एक्टिविटीज़ में आप तरह तरह की यू नो बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज़ प्लान कर सकते हैं. और जब एक्टिविटीज़ आप प्लान कर रहे हैं, नॉट जस्ट रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टू योर चिल्ड्रन, कम्युनिटी को इन्वॉल्व करिए, पेरेंट्स को बुलाइए, है ना, जो आपके लोकल बॉडीज़ हैं उनको बुलाइए. सो यू कैन कॉल ऑल काइंड ऑफ पीपल. सो यू कैन कॉल the small industries people for certain things. You can call your parents to give talks to children, somebody who's working in environment. हमारे पास इतने बच्चे होते हैं, हज़ारों बच्चे होते हैं स्कूल में, किसी ना किसी के पेरेंट कहीं ना कहीं कुछ इस तरह का कर रहे होते हैं. So you can invite them and let the children listen to them, and you can have a worksheet based on what information they have given. वो worksheet भी आपकी use हो सकती है as an enrichment activity. So great, I see a lot of comments saying that you do science expo and science fairs. Fantastic. Yes, ma'am, I'm coming to languages very soon. Yeah, so here I just saw a comment कि language का भी example दीजिए. So here are your examples for languages. हम भाषा दिवस मना सकते हैं. There is an expression series जो एक CBSE का initiative है, उसके बारे में आप CBSE की website पे पढ़ सकते हो. Then the budding authors challenge. So budding authors is an initiative of CBSE जो National Book Trust के साथ उन्होंने किया है. और you know, they are inviting children to write a lot. Then there is a reading challenge. Reading challenge में बहुत amazing resources बनाए थे. In fact मेरा एक session भी है YouTube पे which is recorded on reading challenge also. So reading challenge में क्या है कि आप बच्चों को targets देते हैं, बच्चे घर से books पढ़ के आते हैं, and then we assess them on it to test whether the child has read the book or not. And we give them a challenge that all children in class 2 will read say 12 books this year, or all children in class 4 will read 20 books this year. So you can set a challenge for them and maintain a record, and at the end of it you can also give them certificates to motivate them. You all know the power of certificates. Yes, we all need a certificate at the end of trainings. So certificate is something which drives us to actually actively participate. You can always introduce
नहीं जा रही है, अब जा रही है.
we were talking about languages, and there was some issue with the mic. Oh yes, so we've replaced it. I hope everybody can hear now. Yeah. So we were talking about languages. We talked about Bhasha Divas. We talked about reading challenge. And now I'm going to share some more subject enrichment activities because CBSE has recently introduced this circular. They have sent this circular on 9th of April, like you can see here on the screen. And this lists 12 activities. They have month-wise mentioned what all you can do. So for April, they are mentioning expression series, then the science challenge, then budding authors program, National Reading Day, and CBSE Reading Challenge, Aryabhat Ganit Challenge, then Heritage India Quiz, CBSE Games, Storytelling Competition, Science Exhibition. So like you can say, they've made your work so easy by providing this calendar that you can refer to. And when we talk of Science Challenge to be conducted in April and May, if you look here, okay, so April, May, they're advising you to conduct a Science Challenge. For the Science Challenge, they have actually created another circular and floated it on 17th of April, and they've given you all the guidelines. So this is for students of classes 8 to 10 and what all you can do. There are 2 rounds and who can register, where you can register. All these details you can find on the CBSE website. So this is about subject enrichment activities. I hope you'll have a lot of ideas to implement them. Don't forget the why. Okay, the why is to empower our students. I see a lot of times as teachers, we feel if we will not explain, हमारे बच्चों को समझ नहीं आएगा जब तक मैं खुद नहीं समझाऊंगी. You know, that is the feeling we have. Fair. लेकिन आप ये भूल जाते हो कि बच्चे सब कुछ समझ रहे हैं दुनिया में जो आप नहीं भी समझा रहे हो. राइट सो हर जगह टीचर नहीं है उनको समझाने के लिए. सो वो समझ जाते हैं, अपने फ्रेंड्स से भी बहुत कुछ सीख लेते हैं. सो गिव देम अ फ्री हैंड. Okay, let them explore and come back with their learning, and you will be surprised कि what I was sharing, they come back with much more. I want to share an example of my daughter here. So I was working with a school in a leadership position, and Akshardham temple Delhi में नया बना था. We were very excited to take our children there, जहाँ पे बहुत कुछ learning के लिए था. Okay, so it was not the religious aspect, just the religious aspect, but also we had a boat ride about Indian heritage. There was the musical fountain, and there were some स्टैचूज. बिल्कुल अक्षरधाम में एंटर करते ही बहुत सारे स्टैचूज बने हुए हैं मेटल के, और वो मेटल के स्टैचूज के पास जैसे ही आप पहुंचते हो तो वो सारे राजाओं के हैं जो हमारे इंडिया के बहुत पॉपुलर फेमस राजा रह चुके हैं. सो अशोका एंड एवरीवन. सो आप जैसे ही स्टेप करते हो उनके पास, वहाँ पे से ऑडियो स्टार्ट हो जाता है, उस राजा के बारे में आपको बताने लग जाता है. So now what happened, I took my students from school and it was absolute hit. तो मुझे लगा यार I should take my daughter also. So I took my daughter over the weekend कि इसको भी घुमा के लाती हूँ. As soon as we went there, I told her अब ध्यान से सुनना, यहाँ पे ऑडियो आता है, so बिल्कुल ध्यान से pay attention and listen to this. So I was focusing on the historical aspect of it कि उसको सब राजाओं के बारे में पता चल जाए, अशोका का, who is अशोका, क्या किया उन्होंने, सब कुछ समझ जाए. What happened? She was standing there. The audio started. She moved to the next one and started looking at it, and then she very closely started observing it and touching the metal and doing something. And I said, "What's wrong? Why didn't you listen to the complete thing? There was something to learn for you, you know." And she said, "Mom, can you wait?" And she said, "Can you look here? I was wondering how come they can have such huge bronze statues. It must be so expensive to install such heavy statues. इतने बड़े इतने महंगे metal के statues कौन बना सकता है? See, this is not bronze is just electroplated. अंदर से it's iron, and iron is electroplated with this." And I was surprised. You know, this is one perspective I had never मतलब I would not have even thought about it if she had not brought this to my notice. So then I realized that it's not everything is not within us. There is so much that our children bring, to our experiences. So yeah, please give your children to share stuff with you, and you will be surprised. Yeah. Next one, we come to portfolio. The last part of our we've just covered periodic tests and subject enrichment activities. This is the third part of our internal assessment portfolio, which is like my personal baking journal. अब हमने baking सिखा दी अपने बच्चों को, ठीक है? They can bake their own cakes. अब हम क्या बोल रहे हैं? Everyone have your own baking journal. For example, I love pastries, so I am preparing a my journal which has more about pastries and somebody loves muffins more, so वो muffins ज़्यादा की बात कर रहे हैं, किसी को patties अच्छी लगती हैं वो baking में patties की बात कर रहे हैं, right? So हम अपना personal जो हमारे experiences हैं और जो हमारे likes हैं उससे related चीज़ें अपने portfolio में डालते हैं. So look at these pictures. The first one is about writing. The second, you can see a lot of books. So children may be reading books, they will be writing book reviews, they may be writing their own books. Third one, you see children are doing some research. कुछ insects के बारे में photos खींची, collect किए insects, उनके बारे में कुछ लिखा, observations. And the last one, you see this boy working on a computer. So digitally बच्चे बहुत काम करते हैं. So if you see, all of this can go inside the portfolio, right from your collections, writings, experiences, research, photography, all kinds of stuff can be put inside a portfolio. Okay, here are certain pointers for you. So teachers and students together decide what goes into it. It is a systematic collection of student work, skills and accomplishments. So if I have performed in Olympiad as a child, I've got a certificate for Olympiad, let it go inside the portfolio. Children's collections, experiences, creativity and what is the purpose? कर क्यों रहे हैं हम सब कुछ इकट्ठा? क्या क्यों करना है ये सब कुछ इकट्ठा? So that we can track the child's progress throughout the year and throughout different sessions. Okay, so horizontally भी कि इसमें अभी जब अप्रैल में बच्चा मेरी क्लास में आया है उससे नेक्स्ट मार्च तक उसका क्या प्रोग्रेशन हुआ है प्लस क्लास 1 से क्लास 12 तक क्या प्रोग्रेशन हुआ है, you will be able to see all of this through their portfolios. Again, portfolios are very powerful tool. हर एक बच्चे के experiences हो सकते हैं. I again want to share one example. So there was this child in our school जो बहुत ही bright child था और हमने एक coloring competition किया था. उसमें इस बच्चे ने एक सीनरी बनाई जिसमें इसने जो ट्री था, ट्री का ट्रंक ब्राउन था और जो ट्री का ऊपर वाला पूरा पार्ट था, द लीव्स एंड ऑल, वो सब ब्लैक बनाई. ओके, नाउ द टीचर सेड मैम इज सच अ ब्राइट चाइल्ड एंड दिस टाइम Yeah, sorry everyone, we had a power cut here. So yes, with technology you can never be sure. But we are back and I am reading those comments there. So don't worry, we'll complete on time. We'll not hold you back. Okay, so we'll finish before 6 for sure. So yes, I was telling you this story when this child colored a tree black and the teacher said, "Ki ma'am, it's very sad this child is not going to get a prize this time and because he's colored the tree black." And I said, why don't you call the child and check with him why he has done this? Because I was somewhere thinking that maybe the child didn't have a green color in the color box and so he chose to, color it black. That's a very, that's something that can actually happen. And so this child was called from the class and when the teacher checked with him, can you explain this drawing to me? The child said, whatever was there, he explained about it. And then the child said, ma'am, this is a tree and my mother told me that the tree absorbs all the pollution from the air and makes it clean makes the air clean for us. So the tree has absorbed all the pollution and that's why the tree has become black. Now, do you see how deeply these children think and what kind of portrayal the child had put on the sheet? And had we not spoken to the child, we would have missed out on such an important aspect. So if you ask me, I would, at that time, this concept of portfolio was not there. Had this child been in my class today, I would have loved to keep his sheet with that black tree in the portfolio. So I'm just giving you an example, what kind of personalized stuff can go inside it. Okay, I ask my children to collect something during the summer break. Some child goes to the beach, collects some shells, brings them back and has to write something about those shells. Where did he find them? What was so exciting for him? So all of that, So another child goes to another place, or another child just wants to collect some stamps and or some coins, and we can add that information in the portfolio too. So it's a very, very personalized collection of your accomplishments and skills. Criteria to assess portfolio, you will assess it on the basis of how well it is organized, whether your all objectives that you had defined to be put inside it are accomplished, the evidences of student growth, if that progression is visible throughout the year, that the child has actually grown in terms of, say, you asked the child. Oh man, I'm just, okay. So I think the power is back and we'll just take a minute to restore all of it. So I think the power is back. So again, it will take a minute to restore. That's why it just got shut down. Give us a minute, please. It shut down. So sorry for the inconvenience. And we are back. Certificates. I see a lot of people worried about the certificate. You will get it at the end of the session, and we are going to wind it up before 6 o'clock. So rest assured. We've talked about portfolios, and next we move on to, okay, I want to know which innovative ways of assessments you have used in your classrooms. Okay, again, the Menti link is there in the chat, it's pinned there. So please go to Mentimeter and tell us which are the innovative ways of assessment you've used in your classrooms. Yes, what are the different types of multiple assessments you've used in your classroom? Formative, portfolio, projects, assignments, class test, all right, group discussions, and periodic test, reading challenge, presentations, peer assessment, written test, oral assessment, true or false, board test, listening activity, logs and quizzes, poster making, lab assessment, flower dissection, field trip, self-assessment, surprise test, assignments, MCQs and slip test. Great. So you have already been doing a lot. So congratulations. You already know it all. And let's see if you can find some more interesting ways of including, different tools or different ways, techniques in your multiple assessment. Again, multiple assessment carries a weightage of 5 marks, and here we can say creativity meets curriculum. So as creative as you can get, give those interesting techniques to your children for exploring, and I'm sure they're going to surprise you with all that they can do. So these offer endless possibilities, and these are suitable for different learning styles. We learn in 3 ways. Basically, all of us have 3 ways of learning. So these are VAK. Can I use this? VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Okay. So if all our learners are learning in these 3 ways, we should be able to provide them opportunities to perform in these 3 ways. So every assessment should not be writing based, but there should be something visual where they can draw, prepare posters, prepare presentations. Then it can be kinesthetic, where they are able to do things and build things. Okay. So if we look at these different examples, previous slide also, just one second. So you look here, these children are preparing a survey in the first one. Okay. They are trying to prepare a survey to check with the community about, or collect information, or do some research about the topic assigned to them. Next one is a quiz. I hope you all know about Kahoot, and we have all used Kahoot extensively during COVID to conduct quiz with our students. And the next one, we have a talk show. So if you can see in the image, there is a talk show going on with few children on the panel and others as audience. So you can organize these kind of talk shows and panel discussions inside the classroom and give opportunity. This will actually develop leadership skills in children. In PISA, what did we realize? Our children were good at remembering, not at presenting their opinions, presenting ideas. So all these kind of multiple assessments are going to empower them with this. You can see children preparing podcast in the first image. You can see them debating in the second image, and you can see them making a PowerPoint presentation in the third one. So again, very, very powerful methods of assessment, where you are actually, your children are thinking creatively, they are thinking critically also, and they are communicating effectively in all of these methods. And a few more. The central image shows a role play where they are all dressed up as different characters. The image on the right is of a concept map, a very good graphical organizer for visual learners, where you give them an opportunity to present their learning visually, because everybody can't write. So I can give this option that those who don't want to write can present their learning through a concept map. And the first image here is of an exit ticket. Okay, so at the end of your class, you can ask them 3 things that they have learned today, 2 things that probably they are still struggling in, and 1 thing that they are very excited to try or test or create in the days to come. So these exit ticket questions 3 to 1 can also be concept specific. So these are some different techniques used for multiple assessment, and there can be many more. Okay. Now from here, let's move on to competency based assessment, or the proper question papers that we create. So here I have just put a tree diagram to show you the different types of test items. I'm sure you all know this. This is available everywhere on your CBSE sites also, and you must be using all of it while creating your blueprints. So I'll not spend much time on this slide, but just touch upon it, that there are 3 different kinds of options here, where we have to give questions with selected response, which include MCQ, matching type of questions, and true and false. We have constructed response, short answer and long answer questions, which are 2 and 3 mark or 4 mark questions, and competency based questions, which are your also called your case based questions these days. Yeah, this is, say, a structure of a blueprint, which is absolutely a sample. Please don't take it as a final draft. This is not. So if you look at it, I just wanted to highlight the different sections in this. First, we are deciding the cognitive levels according to Bloom's taxonomy. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many questions of each level I am including in my question paper. Remember, I said don't just limit yourself to remembering and understanding, but include analyzing, applying, evaluating questions also. Then we are saying what type of item format. In the previous slide, we had seen selected response or short answer, long answer, or case based. So we are specifying how many questions of those types. Then we are defining the difficulty level, right? How many easy, medium, and challenging questions will be included. So that comes here, the difficulty level, and then you also calculate the suggestive time to answer those questions, so that you know that this is an attainable task that you are allotting for the assessment. Now when we talk of competency based questions, these will include free response questions, where I can reply as per what I think, subjective questions, and then we will also have MCQs. And when we have multiple choice questions here, multiple choice questions are a very good way to find out the understanding, how well the child has understood the concept, because if the child has not understood it well, the child will get confused. Reading the distractors, the child is completely left unaware that which is the right answer. And if we look at those wrong answers, we can actually identify the misconceptions children form by looking at those MCQ responses. Then we have incorrect okay, so the third point I've already covered. Check items for appropriateness, validity. So when you're creating MCQs, you have to check them for all of these points. When we talk of case-based questions, you have to use information relating to engaging real life context, and it should be authentic source. So if you are showing a map, the map has to be an authentic map of a particular place. If you are talking about some situation, make sure that the information is authentic. It's not fictional, right? So it has to be absolutely real and authentic. We can skip this. Now I have some examples here, subject specific examples that I would want you to look at, because competency based assessment, wherever I have gone for trainings, teachers say that they are facing a challenge and struggling in creating these competency based questions, and they still have no idea. So see, we are all very new. I may be conducting trainings for long, and I have been including a lot of subjective questions in assessment, but the board prescribing competency based assessment and 50% weightage, so that's very, very new for all of us. And we all have to build our skills. So the CBSE has also provided a lot of resources which are available on their website. Please access those. And here, if you look, all my life we've been questioning, why trigonometry? हम कहाँ use करेंगे trigonometry अपनी life में? So if you look here, it's a real life example, and this will make learning meaningful for children? जो मैं बार बार बोल रही हूँ कि बच्चों हम why are we learning? Students should also know कि ये use हो रहा है real life में, इसलिए मैम trigonometry पढ़ा रही हैं. So look at this. For a slide to be safe to use, it has to be installed with an angle of 45 degrees with the ground. So now look at this and tell us whether it is safe for us to play on this slide. ठीक है, अब आपको इसके measurements दिए हुए हैं, height दी हुई है और hypotenuse दिया हुआ है. Now you have to calculate and find out if the angle is 45 degrees. You will know it is safe, otherwise it is not safe. A pure case, real life based question for math. Okay, so here we are looking at some agricultural practices of a tribe in eastern Himalayas in Arunachal Pradesh, and this is talking about how much rainfall this region gets, and this picture shows wet cultivation in valleys. So how do these people manage to irrigate their valleys and hills? It's a multiple choice question, okay, a case based question, but requires lot of analyzing. Where would they be getting water from, and it has been shared how much rainfall they are getting. So again, children have to think deeply. It's not a factual MCQ. Okay, so we are not just asking which of these countries is our neighbor. Okay, so there's Pakistan and there is US and Turkey and Indonesia. So which is our neighbor? A very factual question, no thought at all, right? But here so much of depth. Now languages, बार-बार language teachers मुझे बोलते हैं कुछ examples दीजिए. So if we look here, we are asking them to write an article of 120 to 150 words for a magazine, New Generation, on video game addiction. Right? So video games addiction is defined as uncontrolled use of video games, and so we have been given these 4 ideas. अब इन 4 ideas को use करते हुए बच्चों को उस पे लिखना है, which is so simple. Yet they will require the expertise of creative writing to frame it and put it together in a defined and organized form. मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, ठीक है, ये भी इंग्लिश का है आपका, और हमें लगता है लेटर राइटिंग. अब लेटर राइटिंग तो जब तक मैं लेटर नहीं लिखाऊंगी तो लेटर राइटिंग को असेस कैसे करूंगी. सो मुझे लगता है लेटर राइटिंग असेस करने के लिए हमेशा पत्र लेखन देना ही देना है मुझे अपने क्वेश्चन पेपर में. ऐसा नहीं है. लुक एट दिस, सच अ ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन जहाँ पे लेटर राइटिंग को MCQ के थ्रू हम जज कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, यू आर अमल और आप अपने फ्रेंड समीरा को लेटर लिख रहे हो, आस्किंग हर टू कम एंड स्टे विद यू, और एक आप उसको ये भी बोल रहे हो कि मेरे स्कूल में एक प्ले हो रहा है जिसमें मैं लीड परफॉर्मर हूँ, तो प्लीज आओ और मेरा प्ले देखने के लिए मेरे घर आओ, मेरे घर पे रुको. नाउ विच ऑफ दीज सेंटेंसेस विल बी बेस्ट टू बिगिन द इनवाइट? कौन से? सो लुक एट दिस, देयर आर सो मेनी चॉइसेस एंड इट्स एन MCQ. अगेन उसी से रिलेटेड है, विच ऑफ दीज वुड बी द लीस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट डिटेल? कौन सी चीज अमल अपने इनवाइट में नहीं लिखेगा, और विच ऑफ दीज इज मोस्ट लाइकली टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन द बॉडी, और इनमें से कौन सी चीज उसको मस्ट इंक्लूड करनी चाहिए. राइट, सो लेटर आइलैंड्स कौन से हैं, और उनके ऊपर अर्थक्वेक आएगा तो अगर हमारी प्लेट्स मूव हो रही हैं तो क्या इफेक्ट होगा. सो डू यू सी, एक हायर ऑर्डर थिंकिंग के लिए नीचे वाली जो स्किल्स हैं, द लोअर ऑर्डर थिंकिंग स्किल्स, वो क्लियर होनी बहुत जरूरी है. अगर मुझे बेसिक मैप ही नहीं पता तो मुझे ऊपर वाली स्किल्स तो मैं अप्लाई नहीं कर पाऊंगी. सो आई नीड टू नो, हैव रिमेंबरिंग, अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू बी एबल टू अप्लाई माई लर्निंग. राइट, सो दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड अगेन अ गुड क्वेश्चन. ओके, नाउ आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू आर अवेयर कि पिक्चर बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस भी जरूरी हो गए हैं. आपको क्लास 1 ऑनवर्ड्स आपको पिक्चर बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस भी इंक्लूड करने हैं अपने क्वेश्चन पेपर्स में. सो इफ यू सी हियर, दिस इज एन इमेज ऑफ पेनिनसुलर इंडिया which lies in the same temperature zone during January. The winter temperature in Nagpur is 5 degrees lower than in Mumbai. Why? Okay, क्यों है डिफरेंस जब पूरा इंडिया एक ही उसमें आ रहा है रीजन में. सो नागपुर और इसके मुंबई में टेम्परेचर में डिफरेंस क्यों है? बायोलॉजी. श्याम इज स्टडिंग द रूट्स ऑफ अ प्लांट. सैंपल ए में ये है, सैंपल बी में ये सारी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं. सो अब आप बताइए कि ये प्लांट सैंपल्स जो है कौन से हैं. सैंपल ए कौन सा है, सैंपल बी, इनमें से कौन सी स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है? सैंपल ए वाली ट्रू है, सैंपल बी वाली ट्रू है, जो भी स्टेटमेंट ट्रू है आपको वो बताना है. सो इफ यू नो दीज प्लांट्स वेल, आई थिंक दैट्स अ गुड क्वेश्चन. हिंदी. बाबूजी धार्मिक प्रवृत्ति के मनुष्य थे. माता के आंचल पाठ के आधार पर 40 से 50 शब्दों में सिद्ध कीजिए. सो हम बात कर रहे हैं चरित्र चित्रण या चरित्र वर्णन की, यहाँ पे कैरेक्टर एनालिसिस कि इस कहानी में टेल अस इन दिस स्टोरी एंड जस्टिफाई दैट बाबूजी वाज अ रिलीजियस मैन. Okay, so again children are reading the story and finding information to justify their answer. History. अब ये आपको मैप दे दिया इंडिया का और 3 उस पे लोकेशंस मार्क हुई हुई हैं. 3 locations are pointed here, marked here. Which of the following is true? Again, a map question with MCQ. How fantastic, right? So you have to tell us कि ये सारे गॉड कोई टेम्पल्स की हैं, लॉर्ड शिवा के टेम्पल्स हैं इन जगहों पे, या अशोका के धामास हैं और सूफी श्राइन्स हैं. So this is what the children have to tell. Chemistry. Yeah. So the child is breathing air into this test tube. So this is related to process of respiration, and you need to answer these questions, which are open questions. You have to justify your answers and give reasons. Another chemistry based question. Boiling points are given here. Explain why the boiling point of HI is higher than that of HBr. Hydrogen iodide is higher than hydrogen bromide. So why is it so? Now this you can't explain until and unless you have a very good understanding of the temperature, boiling temperature, etc. Okay, another question, social science. Overpopulation in developing countries is the most pressing reason for large-scale exploitation of resources. In 30 words, prove this wrong. Okay, critical thinking आ गई, बहुत solid वाली. हाँ, why is this statement not okay? So yeah. So with that, we come to the end of our examples, right? So if there are any teachers from junior classes, I can give an example from junior classes as well. So for example, earlier we used to ask explain photosynthesis. Photosynthesis क्या होता है बताइए. अभी मैं कह रही हूँ इसको अगर हमें application based बनाना है. So एक farmer है जिसने crops बोए और उसके crops उग नहीं रहे हैं. तो आप possible reasons लिखिए कि क्या possible reasons हो सकते हैं based on photosynthesis जिसकी वजह से उसके crops नहीं grow हो रहे हैं, और उसके लिए आप क्या solutions उसको suggest करेंगे. Right. So again, a question which you can call competency based. Now beyond this, previous slide. So अगर हम इसके अलावा scholastic subjects से, now we come to the assessment of compulsory areas, like we call them. So there are 3 compulsory areas: health and physical education, work experience, और class 10 में हम art education लेते हैं, और class 12 के लिए we talk about general studies. So these are the 3 compulsory areas that we include. And finally, once we have completed with our assessment, we come to holistic progress card, which is the HPC. And still a lot of us are in a gray area where the understanding of HPC is concerned. We all are going through it, trying to understand it and get a grasp of it. Of course, it takes time. First time, none of us was able to, take it as a whole. But the more we look at it, the more sense it makes. And the way we are saying, अगर हम बोल रहे हैं हर बच्चे की skill develop होनी चाहिए, they should become critical thinkers, they should become effective communicators. This will not happen if we don't look at each one individually. तो वो करना पड़ेगा, and उसके लिए let's have a look at this holistic progress card. Now this is the site, Parakh NCERT site, where this holistic progress card is available. You all can explore it. Okay. So अगर आप इसमें scroll down करते हो, so पहले foundation stage की है, preparatory, middle, and then you will find the secondary stage HPC card here, and how to fill it is also explained here, and you can try hands-on with your login ID also. So I'm going to open this holistic progress card. Yes. And like you can see how many pages, it's a long document of 53 pages. Yeah, it's a 53 page document, and this includes so part A is your general information. Then we come to self-evaluation, where the child is writing about what the child wants. Okay, my career aspirations and what will I do to fulfill my aspirations. Remember, I told you assessment as learning. Be your own guide and look at your own map of where you want to go. So here the child is creating that map for himself or herself and going to decide the way forward. What are the goals, how I am going to accomplish them, what will I need to achieve. What will I need to achieve in a week, 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now. So we are also teaching goal setting to our children. Do you see? It's not that I'm just saying, okay, I want 90% marks or I want to clear medical exam. It's not like that. You are setting smaller milestones which will take you to the larger goal. Right? And okay, I think all of you can explore this on your own. I'll quickly, so this is the self-evaluation part where the child is talking about time management and everything. And then we will have the teacher assessment here and we will also have peer assessment here. So if you scroll down, you will find those pages and I think it's about time. So I will end this here and leave it for you to explore. Okay. So we all are learners. And like we are saying, the skill has to be built when you do it yourself. So I'll stop here and I would recommend that you explore it on your own to build a better understanding, not going by my speed, but taking your own pace and spending your own time to learn about all these different materials that we have. So let's sum up. Number one, when we talk of effective assessment practices, the first thing required is to change the mindset. Okay, we need to look at assessments as something which are going to build us and not something that is going to be judgmental and we have the fear of चार लोग क्या कहेंगे कि मेरे कितने number आए हैं. So let's come out of that and create a healthy feeling about assessment, and as teachers only we can do it. Okay, and we'll also need to do a lot of parent orientations to change that perspective. Number two, we will have to focus on skill development as a goal and उसके accordingly हमें अपनी planning change करनी पड़ेगी पूरी teaching learning process. Number three, if we are skilled professionals, very important point teachers, look at this. If we are skilled professionals, we will be more respected by all stakeholders. और हम अपनी skill हमें खुद develop करनी है. क्यों करनी है? आप एक डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो, कभी आप डॉक्टर को नहीं बोलते कि नहीं मैं ये दवाई नहीं खाऊंगा, मुझे दूसरी दे दो. बट आपका पेरेंट आपको आके हमेशा बोल देता है कि मैम नो डोंट ट्रीट माई चाइल्ड लाइक दिस, डोंट डू दिस, ओके व्हाई यू डूइंग दिस, आप लोगों ने ये क्यों इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया. वो आपसे क्वेश्चन पेपर पे आके पूछते हैं ये क्यों इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया. आई रिमेंबर वी हैड गिवन एडजेक्टिव्स इन द सिलेबस फॉर एन इंग्लिश असेसमेंट. ठीक है, हमने बोला इंग्लिश की असेसमेंट है एडजेक्टिव्स की. बच्चे को क्वेश्चन पेपर में आया अंडरलाइन द एडजेक्टिव एंड टेल कि एडजेक्टिव किस नाउन को डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है. पेरेंट्स लड़ने आ गए बहुत सारे इकट्ठे होके कि मैम एडजेक्टिव्स का टेस्ट था, आपने नाउन क्यों पूछा है. अब एडजेक्टिव की अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए नाउन तो समझ आना ही चाहिए ना बच्चे को. लेकिन उसके बाद क्या हुआ, सब लोग डर गए एंड पीपल वर लाइक लेट्स नॉट इंक्लूड सच थिंग्स. फिर पेरेंट्स आ जाएंगे, गुस्सा करेंगे, देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ फियर. सो इफ वी आर प्रोफेशनल्स वी शुड नॉट बी स्केयर्ड टू इम्प्लीमेंट थिंग्स इन द राइट वे. That is very important. And we have to work on students' reading and comprehension skills. Do you know, कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड क्वेश्चन में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है, कॉन्टेक्स्ट को समझना. जो क्वेश्चन लैंग्वेज की फॉर्म में लिखा है उसको आप समझ पाएं. सो रीडिंग एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंशन स्किल्स आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई अर्ज साइंस, इकोनॉमिक्स, फिजिक्स, वट एवर यू टीच, प्लीज एंश्योर दैट यू आर एनकरेजिंग योर चिल्ड्रन टू रीड. सिर्फ लैंग्वेज टीचर्स का काम नहीं है बच्चों को रीडिंग स्किल्स पे एनकरेज करना कि वो अपनी डेवलप करें. एवरीवन हैज़ टू डेवलप, अदरवाइज हमारे बच्चे कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस नहीं कर पाएंगे क्योंकि वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड ही नहीं कर पाएंगे. Right? So that brings me to the end of this session. And we will soon pin the feedback link in the chat. So please fill your feedback and you will be able to get your certificate. And I thank Educart for organizing this amazing session, and I thank you all for participating so actively. My energy has been very high during the session. I hope you could feel it because energy, travels through the universe. So I'm sure you all could feel that, and your comments continuously motivated me to do that. So thank you everyone. Make sure that our children are able to bake that cake that all of us want to eat. So we have to develop their skills and for them to sail through the future, navigate through their lives with ease. And now I invite Nishant. So. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the lovely session, and I am looking forward for that cake. It looked really delicious, right? So, teachers, thank you for your time. I am able to see some comments where you're asking for the link for the certificates. So, to take this further, we will be pinning the link for the Google form on the YouTube link itself. So, you'll be able to log in there and then please register your details. A few more announcements for all of you. The first is we have a specimen program for all the teachers, right? So this is a specifically dedicated program so that every teacher is able to use Educart books. So we give them free books which are delivered at your home. Then we have a test series which is 40 trick questions which are conducted in the classrooms. This helps the students so that they can better prepare themselves. Then we have a premium practice series for pre-boards as well as half yearly. That's another good points that we are doing it. And the last few things is because we are living in the stage of misinformation, right? So giving right information and right news is very important. So we also make you aware about the latest CBSE notification. Now, when we are talking about CPD, there are a lot of notifications that CBSE is releasing. So we want you to be aware about those things. Then we have some lovely webinars and workshops that we conduct in campus and as webinars as well that we are doing right now. And last but not the least, career counseling and stream selection workshop for students. So this is something that we are trying to do. Next, please. Okay, so there's a very exciting news for all the teachers. This will definitely motivate you. Can we move? Okay, so this is the document that I was talking about. So a notification was released on 1st of April by CBSE. Now we understand 1st of April is April Fool Day, but CBSE was very serious here. So they have listed down 3 main domains which are very, very important for the teachers to upskill themselves. The first domain is core values and ethics. Now there's a quote, teachers, that I want every one of you to understand this quote. A change of heart without education is no change at all. So if you are not able to make a child more responsible, create some value, it will not be reflected in their behavior also. So that's, I think that is the reason first core values and ethics is given importance. The second is basically improving your knowledge and practices. And the third domain that we talk about is professional development and growth. Can you move to the next? Okay, so this is what we are doing here in Educart. We have launched an educators first initiative for all the teachers from 9 to 12th. The idea of this initiative is to get you upskilled in terms of CPD training. That's the first goal. Along with that, also to help you out in terms of your challenges and struggles that you are having. Right? We understand that time is one of the biggest challenges that every teacher faces. Right? So to improve that also, we have started up with a series of webinars. Can we move to the next? Okay, and those series of webinars will actually help you out in terms of taking these training at your home comfort with a proper certificate. So these are the main benefits of the program. The first, can we move up? The main benefits of the program. The first is lifelong learner. Now, as a teacher, as a student, we understand that if we stop learning, we stop growing as well. So that's the first benefit of the program. And I think that's the most important benefit of the program. Second, we give you a framed certificate for 25 hours of CPD training, which is mandated by CBSE. That's the second one. Then we also send a letter of appreciation to your principals. The reason of doing is because you are taking efforts, you are putting efforts so that you are able to upskill yourself. Your principal should be aware about those progresses. So that's the one thing. And we also release a article on Hindustan Times to appreciate your efforts. Now, I would like to continue with these slides, but I think this will be more effective if I show you the page that we want to. So can we move to the website, please? First page. Okay. So teachers, the first thing is the initiative itself. It's an educators first initiative where we want to upskill teachers in India, specifically for 9 to 12th grade, because the need of the hour is very, very important there, right? Then we talk about what we are doing. So we are up. Okay. So we have created a calendar for all of you. Basically, this is as per the CBSE notification and as per the months relevant to those in your academic year. So in the month of May, we are coming up with couple of sessions which is on inclusive education. That is the first one. And then we are also talking about happy classrooms, right? In the month of June, we are talking about storytelling as a pedagogy. So that has become a very, very relevant topic these days because story is something that we can relate to, right? So can you integrate those stories in your day-to-day activities, in your teachings? And that is the another way to do it. Then life skills. Again, NEP repeatedly talks about life skills. It talks about how life skills are important for students, but it is equally important for teachers also. So we talk about life skills, we talk about critical thinking, and creative thinking as well, and so on and so forth for July, September. If I talk to you about September, now September is an important month. We have our half yearly exams, we have our PTMs also available. So we are also focusing on parents communication, so that you can communicate better with the parents, you can have an effective communication with them, and then discuss their results, right? Can we move to the next? Now coming to the superstars who will be training you. So we have accumulated the best trainers in Pan India, which we talk about. A few of them I'll mention. One is Miss Shivani Gupta. She is one of the most, I would say, well thought, well read resource person that I've come across. Very good with her communication skills, and she teaches communication skills to teachers as well. So that is the first one. Then we have someone like Ruchi Sengar. She is the one who actually has practically worked with NCRT and created sample papers for them. So she also will be training you in the series of webinars. Then we have already met Akanksha Arora ma'am. So she is there. We have Anubhav Rakhija, one of the top career counselors, again associated with the Educart. The idea of the entire program is to give you the best possible scenarios, best possible teachers, and so that you can upskill yourself. Can we move to next? We have Dr. Anup Kumar Rajput as well. So he is head of training from NCRT. So we also get a lot of guidance from sir. He has also conducted multiple webinars for us, multiple sessions with us. So very closely associated with all the top leaders, right? So these are few of our trainers, but then we have a pool of almost like 50 to 60 trainers like this. So we will be bringing multiple webinar and multiple experiences for you. So now the announcement is that we have opened our registration for these webinars. You can enroll from today, right? There are two options, 12.99 and 19.99. The idea of the webinar is not to earn, it is not to maybe put a money to it or a price to it. It is basically to deliver value. And we want to deliver that value. That is why, to increase the seriousness of the teacher, we have put in some prizes there, right? So there are multiple benefits that you get. Can we move up? So you get frame certificate, you get a proper CPD training done. Then you also get a letter of appreciation. Then every second Saturday or every fourth Saturday also, we have alternative Saturday that we are keeping for webinars, so that you can take out time and you can upskill yourself. So that is the benefit that we are bringing in. I hope every one of you please enroll this. Spread the word. If you have any doubts, any clarity required, you can contact our details. Contact details are mentioned, and we will be discussing that with you. Right now, thing that you are waiting for. So we are pinning the certification link on the YouTube channel. Please review that. I would request everyone to please fill all your information. This is very, very important, because we will be able to send you certificates based on this information only. So I request everyone to please fill your details, and please share your feedbacks as well for the same. So thank you so much to all the educators, all the teachers. Good to meet you. Good to talk to you. We'll be sharing your feedbacks. We'll be collecting your feedbacks, and we'll be sharing certain details or the